Several weeks ago, I met with law enforcement officials, including the superintendent here in Chicago. Then I went out to Rockford to do the same thing. I appreciated the counsel that they gave me at the meetings, and it came down to the same basics. We need to crack down on straw purchasers and traffickers who put guns in the hands of criminals. We need to get assault weapons, military assault weapons, and high-capacity ammunition magazines off the street. We've got to make sure there's a criminal background check in place for all gun sales so that we know that guns are only sold to responsible, lawful users. I took those recommendations to heart. I took them back to Washington, and we went to work. This week, I joined with Senator Pat Leahy, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, to introduce a bill to impose stiff federal penalties on straw purchasing. Time after time, we've seen criminals and gang members use these straw purchasers and girlfriends and you name it to walk into a gun store and make a purchase they couldn't legally make under the law. This is gun trafficking. It feeds the criminal gun market, as the superintendent can attest, and it has to stop. Illinois is one of the few states that has a law to punish straw purchasing, but at the federal level, straw purchasers face only minor penalties for filing false paperwork. That has to change. We need to create a strong federal deterrent to stop straw purchasing. Our bill will do that. The bill makes straw purchasing a federal crime that can carry a penalty of up to 30 years if the straw purchaser knows that the gun will be used to commit a crime of violence. And it cracks down on those shady dealers who want to look the other way when they ought to know better. The President has called for tough penalties on straw purchasing as part of his plan, and I'll work with my colleagues in the Senate to make that happen. I also joined with Senator Feinstein of California yesterday to reintroduce the ban on military-style assault weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines. When I held my town meeting here in January, Superintendent McCarthy showed me a military-style semi-automatic Uzi that had been fired against Chicago police officers just the night before, and thank God it jammed after the first round. No one was killed. But something's terribly wrong when our police officers are outgunned by street criminals. I come from downstate Illinois. It's where I was born and raised. We have a great family tradition when it comes to gun ownership, sporting, and hunting. I understand it and I respect it. But I've talked to any number of responsible hunters and sportsmen in recent weeks, and they say to me they don't understand why the gun lobby pretends to speak for them when it comes to military assault weapons. People don't use assault weapons with 30 or 100 round magazines to go hunting, and they sure don't use them for self-defense. These are weapons designed for war, and tragically they were used for mass murder in places like Newtown and Aurora, Colorado. The legislation we've introduced will not confiscate anyone's gun they lawfully own. It grandfathers in assault weapons that are already lawfully owned. It covers, and we specify, 2,200 specific hunting and sporting weapons that are exempted from this ban. 2,200! But the bill will stop new assault weapons and high-capacity magazines from entering into circulation.